Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Amber Verna, and I'm the owner of Healing Platform. Today, I'm going to share a presentation with you that I did at a local women's empowerment group. It is titled Finding Your Way Home to You. But before we dive into that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a mom, wife, holistic healer, lover of nature, and a student of life. I am a firm believer that all of the answers we seek lie within each of us, waiting to be discovered. I utilize an individualized whole person approach. I take into consideration all aspects of your well being and use a variety of healing techniques such as Reiki, chiropractic, medical astrology, nutrition, and lifestyle strategies to restore balance to your health physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I help my clients identify where and why imbalances are occurring in the body. Once identified, I support my clients by helping them bring awareness to the underlying causes and provide them with the knowledge, tools, and support they need. Each person on this planet has the power within to heal themselves, and no one person on this planet is the same. Therefore, no healing journey is going to look the same. I am here to listen, advise, witness, and assist you on your unique path to wholeness. So that's a little bit about me. And here is our presentation, Finding Your Way Home to You. So when I sat down to write this presentation and decide on what I was going to speak on, so many topics came flooding in about empowerment. But when I took a step back and thought about what has been the biggest transformational journey that I have been on, I knew. For years, I have struggled with wondering who I am, why I'm here, what is my purpose in life, and what am I meant to do? From a young age, especially as women, we are told certain stories and have certain expectations that are thrust on us by our family, culture, and society, such as women need to stay small, you need to be quiet, you can't talk back, you need to have the perfect appearance, or we don't show our emotions in public. But that is all these things are. They're stories that were told to us that we then began believing and telling to ourselves. And we have the power to change that. The mind is a very powerful tool. We have the ability to choose how we think and choose how to write our story. The first step is becoming aware of the tracks and the loops that we have been playing to ourselves. And slowly, as you catch yourself, each time your thoughts will shift to the story that is true to you and no one else. I believe we are each born with a divine essence or a true nature. We revel in and are so connected to it as young children because it's all we know. It's when external influences of family, culture, and society are interjected that we tend to lose that connection with who we truly are. We have stories that become loops and expectations that we create in our minds. We become disconnected from our bodies, our divinity, and our intuition to the point that we lose confidence in ourselves. And for someone like me, who has a very open heart, I felt completely lost and unsure of who I truly was as I entered into adulthood. And that is the quest that began almost a decade ago in 2013, after I ended my first serious relationship. We had started dating in high school, and by the time I was graduating from undergrad, we had become engaged. It was like I had blinders on. You know how you are with your first love, right? And then a couple years into our engagement, I finally started to see clearly. I was in a very controlling relationship. I was growing and changing, but he was not. My school offered therapy, which I tried, and not knowing what to expect, but talking through it with someone who had nothing invested in the situation really helped me. I still to this day do not know how I did it, but I worked up the courage to end the relationship. It was one of the hardest and yet one of the best things I've ever done for myself. It is the first moment that stands out in my memory in which I truly followed and trusted my gut and my intuition. even though it made no sense to me at first. Kind of like that feeling of when you know, like in your body, you know. The hard part is having faith and trusting that you know. After ending the relationship, I was anew. I did not know who I was without that person. I had definitely become codependent on my ex, so I started exploring. A major realization that did come about after ending the relationship is that I knew what I did not want in a partner. Knowing that led me to manifest my now amazing husband, who is the complete opposite. He is the partner in life that has the qualities that I need to complement the person I have become. You do not realize it at the time, but you grow and learn and evolve so much in your 20s. I am not that person I was then. Heck, I'm not the person I was a year ago, but I carry the parts of them with me always. That is the point of life to me, though. We are continually learning, experiencing, growing, and evolving. If your mind is closed and you stay the same, you're just spinning around over and over like you're on a hamster wheel. We are designed to enjoy the journey life brings. It's not about getting to the destination because there's always another adventure to have. So, fast forward a few years later, I had been in practice as a chiropractor for 2 to 3 years. I had great patients. I was busy. I was making good money. I had an amazing boyfriend who's now my husband, but I still felt unfulfilled. I was on a loop of frustration and did not know why. It's like I felt like there was something greater that I was supposed to be doing with my life, but I didn't know what or why. At the time, I was becoming certified in functional medicine and helping people with chronic illness by utilizing lifestyle, nutrition, supplements, and lab testing. I thought that was my way of doing something greater than just chiropractic. I was trying to get to the root cause of my patients' health concerns so that they could thrive. I was helping people, but it still felt like something was missing. I still didn't completely know who I was. I struggled for years of getting put in a box and really putting myself into a box. I am a chiropractor. It was not until I realized that my certifications and job don't define who I am that it clicked. Yes, they are a part of me and they are things I do, but they do not define who I am as a person. So I set out on a quest to discover who I am and what my purpose in life was. One day, a new patient walked into my office for care. And while going through her health history, she had noted one of her previous treatment methods had been Reiki. At the time, I had no clue what Reiki was, so I asked. Rita explained it was an energy healing technique. I didn't know anything about energy work other than what I had learned about acupuncture and applied kinesiology in school. I thought, that sounds really interesting. She mentioned during her session that Newsweek magazine had a whole issue out on energy healing right now. For some reason, I felt such a pull and a spark about our conversation that I went out on my lunch break and grabbed a copy. My mind was open to a whole new world, and I still have that magazine to this day. It turns out Rita was a Reiki master. So eventually, she convinced me to try a session with her. I had no clue what to expect. After my first session, I felt super relaxed, even though I didn't completely understand what was taking place. So I kept going. Then, a few sessions in, I experienced a major emotional release. During the session, I started crying, and I didn't know why. After the session, I felt as though a huge weight had been lifted off of my chest. That experience was the first step in my realization that healing happens on more than just a physical level. It also occurs on an emotional, intellectual, and spiritual level too. This is why I felt something was missing with functional medicine. It was only addressing the physical body. Many chronic illnesses begin on an energetic or emotional level before they manifest in the physical body. Reiki opened me up to a whole new world and literally changed my life. I will be eternally grateful for the gifts it has bestowed, and it is why I am here today. Reiki was my gateway to discovering who I was again. As I worked with Rita, she encouraged me to try meditating, even if it was just for 5 minutes a day. So I started meditating each morning. And let me tell you, it was difficult at first because I am someone who naturally gets lost in my thoughts and up in my head. I quickly found an app called Headspace, which teaches you the basics of meditating. It was super helpful. Then I found Insight Timer, which was also super helpful because it had guided meditations and ambient sounds. I was intrigued and continued to learn more techniques from teachers like Esther Hicks, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and Dr. Sue Morter to deepen my practice. With consistency and practice, I started getting what I call downloads or insights during meditation. My first profound experience with this was a simple but powerful lesson. At the time, during my Reiki sessions, I'd been focusing on my solar plexus chakra, which is all about confidence in yourself and your passions. It's also associated with the element of fire, and it had felt like I had lost the fire within me. During my meditation, I saw a candle burning bright at my solar plexus, and I received the message that I must light the eternal flame within me through happiness. Before anything can come next, I must find true happiness within. I was like, whoa, what just happened? What does that mean? And that was awesome. When I came out of that meditation, I sat with my journal and wrote at the top of the page, what makes me happy? Sounds like a pretty simple question, right? Sadly, I had to sit there for quite a while and actually think about it. It was an experience that made me realize I had been putting others' needs and desires before my own. It was a huge step in self awareness for me. I had become very disconnected from my needs and who I was as a person, that I couldn't instantly think of what brought me joy. It took years for me to realize that happiness is an inside job. It is something that comes from within you and no one else. During my initial years of meditating, I did not really understand what or where these downloads were coming from. I felt like they were coming from a higher source, but I also wasn't sure if I was just making it up in my head. Then, as I continued to get downloads, I knew they were not coming from my mind. I would get so excited. I would get into meditation almost expecting to get a profound download, which is actually the opposite of what you must do. You have to go into meditation without expectation, which was a difficult lesson for me to learn. The other important lessons I learned many years later is you must be grounded. You have to drop out of your head and into your body to completely surrender and open up to receive. After years of meditating, I realized most of the time the downloads were coming from what I call my higher self. In a nutshell, your higher self is a divine spiritual version of you that has your best interests at heart. It sees all the good you have to offer and loves you unconditionally no matter what. The ability to receive insights really opened up when I truly accepted that I am an intuitive being and actively tried channeling from my higher self. It's hard to describe, but when you connect with your higher self, it's like receiving the most unconditional love that is difficult to put into words. It's a feeling like no other that I've experienced in my life. As I continued my journey, I met another friend and spiritual guide named Angelique. She was also a Reiki master, but practiced in a different way. She incorporated shadow work, sound healing, inner child work, and guided shamanic journeys into her Reiki session. I had received a few signs that I needed to do some shadow work, so I reached out to her. Again, I did not really know what to expect, but the term shadow work seemed a little intimidating to me. Angelique explained to me the shadow side existed within everyone. As with the duality of nature, you cannot have dark without light. She went on to elaborate that the shadow is merely a part of you that you are not accepting or owning up to. The shadow lives in our subconscious mind. It can be things we may consider as a weakness, but it can also be strengths we are unaware we possess, essentially potentials we feel we cannot live up to. So this concept took quite some time to set in, but Angelique was amazing. We talked through a lot of it. She asked really great questions that made me think and feel deeply. Shadow work is like archaeology. When we go into the depths of the abyss and dig through the muck, you find the gems and the treasures that are buried within you. Many of the shadows that came up stemmed from experiences or wounds to my inner child. Many of us don't realize how big of an impact the experiences we have as a child shape us as adults. These traumas, no matter how little or big you think they might be, have an impact on you and continue to live in your subconscious. And no trauma is little, by the way. I tried to pull that card, comparing my wounds to others. I would say, this isn't something I should be complaining about. I learned your trauma is big to you because it made an impact on you and no one else. You carry these wounds with you unconsciously throughout your life, not realizing how they are manifesting in your day to day. That is the goal of shadow work, to identify the parts of you that you are unaware of and bring them to the light so you can love and accept them as part of you. And don't get me wrong, I had a great childhood, but we didn't really talk about our feelings or emotions. Angelique taught me to visit with myself as a child and tell her that she is safe and loved. I had developed a belief subconsciously that I was not good enough. As a child, I had very high expectations put on me, and one of my elementary PE teachers even nicknamed me Miss Perfect Perfect for some reason. As I grew into an adult, I began to put these same high expectations on myself. I was also quiet. I did not speak up for myself because when I was a young adult and tried, I would be scolded if I did so. When you become self aware, go into the shadow, and work with your inner child, you become aware of the different themes, stories, and archetypes that have played out throughout your life. The best example I can use to illustrate this is the loss of my voice and the ability to speak my truth. Throughout my life, I was always asked, "Why are you so quiet?" And as an adult, it really started to frustrate me and even made me angry at times, as you can hear in my voice. Ding, ding, ding. Trigger identified. As this came up in shadow work and I reflected on my life, I saw a pattern that I had never noticed before. First, when I was a young child, probably 4 or 5, I'm guessing, my parents took my younger brother to the doctor because he wasn't speaking a lot. The doctor would ask my brother a question and I would answer. So the doctor said, "Well, there's your problem right there. She's doing all the speaking for him," which sounds cute and funny, but I think that was one of the first impacts of me being told to be quiet because, of course, my mom continued to tell the story to us as we grew up. Then, as an older child, I remembered my dad always telling me, if you are quiet, people are going to think you're stuck up or better than them. So I started developing this negative thought pattern that being quiet was a bad thing. Before I had a class presentation, I would have to practice my speeches and projection over and over again. As no shock, I developed a terrible fear of public speaking as an adult. Then I had a full circle realization to illustrate this pattern that had played out around my voice one day. The Tale of the Little Mermaid. Ironically, my parents told me this was my favorite movie growing up, and I would belt out a part of your world in my car as an adult. As I continued into the shadow, I realized I had played out the role of Ariel. I had lost my voice and my ability to speak my truth as an adult. I felt like what I had to say would not be good enough, so I stayed quiet. I didn't put myself out there because who would want to hear what I would have to say? I also feel like something that wasn't understood by myself as a young adult or my parents is that it is in my nature to be very observant. I speak when I have something meaningful to say. Working with my shadow helped me integrate this as part of me. I can be quiet and observant. That is part of my nature. It allows me to collect knowledge and wisdom from the environment around me. When I speak, it has meaning and purpose. My voice is mine and no one else to judge. Some of the Reiki sessions and shamanic journeys I had with Angelique around this were the deepest and most profound journeys I've ever experienced. Journaling about them afterward and reflecting really helped me with integrating these lessons into my being. I had to shift my perspective about my voice and come to love it for myself. I rewrote the story I had been telling myself about my voice. My voice is unique, authentic, and amazing because it is soothing, calming, and nurturing. My voice possesses a gentle strength that is mine alone. My opinion matters, and I have so much knowledge and wisdom to share with the world. Another concept that really helped me with moving through some of the emotional wounds I had experienced as a child was the concept of sacred contracts. It is the idea that before we come into this existence, we make contracts with other souls on the other side of the veil to help us learn certain experiences. For example, my dad is here in this life to help me learn lessons through the experiences we had together. I had to stop playing the victim and blaming him for my wounds. I signed up to learn these lessons in this lifetime. It also made me think about it a step further in that I don't know what other contracts he had to fulfill. I have no clue what he experienced as a child. He is doing the best he can as my father, and I am grateful that he is in my life. His life, his choices, and his actions are his to make, not mine. We often take on the burdens of those around us, but that again is the key to finding yourself, becoming self aware and realizing when you're taking on something that is not your own and letting it go. Accepting others for who they are can really help you appreciate them. When you take a step back and find what you love about them, you can then shift your perspective into gratitude for them. Don't get me wrong, I still get triggered by my parents, but I can become self aware and catch myself quicker than I used to. You have the ability to choose how you react to the triggers in your life. You cannot control anyone else's actions but your own. When I learned that lesson, it was quite empowering. Now I can usually be with my parents and enjoy them rather than repeatedly be frustrated by them. So, all of these concepts really hit home for me a couple of years later when I had become pregnant with my first child. I realized after all of the growth and work that I have gone through that I want to be a mother that nurtures and provides her children with the environment to blossom into who they are meant to be. And then, when I gave birth to my first child, Sage, not only did I birth a new being onto the planet, I realized I had birthed a new person in myself. I had transitioned from the role of the maiden to the mother, and it left me feeling like a blank slate. I had to figure out who I was going to be as a mother. Many of us do not realize this and do not take the time to grieve or honor the loss of this phase of our womanhood. It is a rite of passage that should be discussed with all new moms instead of us being thrust into this new role, not knowing what to do or what to expect. But if you're a mom, you know that you love that little person so much, you're going to figure it out. So again, I felt anew, and my quest to discover who I was continued. A few months after I gave birth to Sage, I was contemplating a course I had been eyeing for some time. As a seeker, I am continually learning, and my interest had been piqued by a course in alchemical herbalism. I decided to take a leap into the course. My teacher explained how we can help people heal on an astral level by looking to the wisdom of nature. This got me super excited because I knew there was more to healing than on a physical level. The foundation of the course was the elements of nature. I've always loved being outside and in nature, but my teacher, Seja, opened my eyes to a whole new world once again. The concept of Natura Sophia, that nature is alive and we are a part of it, not separate from it. We can learn so much if we slow down and take the time to connect and listen. I learned so much by sitting outside and surrendering to what Mother Nature had to teach me. It was so soothing to my soul. Once again, I felt connected to something greater than myself. As I continued through the course, I hit a module on medical astrology, and my mind was literally blown. I was fascinated by what you could learn about yourself and others through your astral blueprint or your birth chart. For those of you that don't know, your birth chart is kind of like a celestial thumbprint that you receive at the moment you take your first breath. The location of the planets in your chart will impact your vitality, health, and personality. Your physical body is an expression of your astral body on Earth, and the birth chart reveals the lessons we need to learn on a physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual level. Through astrology, I learned about the nature of who I am by working with the elements of my chart. It really helped me understand why I am the way I am. It strengthened my confidence and my intuition in myself, which I had repeatedly struggled with throughout my life. For example, I have a lot of the elements of air and fire in my chart. This explained to me why learning and seeking has always been so important to me. The air element is associated with the mind or the intellectual body. Learning fuels me and energizes me. It also explained why I have a tendency to get stuck in my head. My elemental makeup helped me understand why I have been always drawn to nature. The earth element balances and grounds excessive air. This is why getting out into nature and grounding is so important to me. It anchors me. As kids, we intuitively know what we need, but often lose sight of the simple things life has to offer as an adult. The element of fire is associated with your vital force and spiritual body. This explained why, as an adult, I have been seeking answers, connecting with my intuition, and crave meditation. Also, why I can have a short temper at times, a short temper at times. So I challenge you this week. Try to slow down and be more present throughout your day. What can you observe and learn about yourself from the elements of nature? Nature is all around us. We are connected with it every day. Many of us just forgot we have the ability to do so. So, as you can see through my elemental makeup, my mind likes to gather information and experience so I can integrate them into wisdom through my heart, soul, and being and share them with others. Each of us has our own unique path and purpose to fulfill on this planet. Each role is vital to its evolution, and no role is too small. It is our job as humans to help support and guide others on this journey when possible. I've worked with a few different coaches over the years, and after continually looking to them and asking them for advice, I have found time after time the answers usually come from within. You have to trust that you have the knowledge, wisdom, and intuition already inside of you to do so. Through one of my coaches, I learned about another tool called human design. Similar to astrology, it's based on your time and location of birth, and it creates a blueprint that is unique to you. And I'm not going to go down the human design rabbit hole because I am not an expert by any means. The parts that helped me the most were understanding the concepts of the open centers, so the areas that aren't colored in. So these are where you are influenced from others versus defined centers, which are the ones that are colored in. And those are centers where your energy is consistent and you influence others by those areas. And my type, I am a generator, so I'm here to create, but I must be in alignment with it or it will drain me. My authority is sacral, so I have to get that gut feeling of uh-huh or uh-uh. That means, if I get that uh-huh, I have energy to do it. If I do get the uh-uh feeling, I don't have the energy for it, but if I say yes when I mean no, it drains me. And then my theme. So when I'm in alignment, I feel really satisfied. And when I am not in alignment, I feel frustrated. This is why I had been frustrated for years in the past because I wasn't following my intuition and my alignment with what I really wanted. Okay, so we talked about a lot of these, but I couldn't fit all my stories in one presentation. So some of the lessons and tools may not resonate with you, and that's okay. Take the parts that create a spark or a curiosity within you and run with it. My goal is to provide you with the tools that will aid you along your journey back home to you. So, what do I have to show after this journey? Well, the journey will always continue for me. I am an eternal seeker, and I have embraced this part of me that once frustrated me because I wanted a single and solid answer. Who am I? What is my purpose? For the moment, I know who I am and I know my purpose in life, but I know that it will continue to grow and evolve as I do. The fact that I have given myself the grace to accept that is huge. I know my core constitution based on my elemental makeup, my birth chart, and my design. I need mental stimulation. I love to learn and experience new things. I love working with others, but need my alone time to recharge. Nature and the earth will always center me. I must be grounded in my body and my heart to trust my intuition and my gut. I know what brings me joy. I am on the right path if I feel satisfied. If I'm feeling frustrated, I need to slow down and reflect on why. I am a multidimensional being and I have my own unique light to shine into the world. I know what home feels like to me, and no one else can tell me what it is supposed to feel like. It is something I had to discover on my own. I was provided with numerous tools along the way, which all played their part, but finding your way home to you is an inside job. No one else can do it for you. Be easy and gentle with yourself as you journey, for there will be a lot of other opinions thrown at you. Keep what resonates and let the rest go. You are the only one who truly knows who you are. To me, finding your way home to you cannot be completely described in words. It is a feeling that resides within you that you can tap to whenever you need. I hope this presentation has inspired you to reconnect with yourself on a deeper level. And as a result, you pass this wisdom on to your family, friends, and children. It is my hope that I can allow my daughter to embrace her true nature and nurture the person she is meant to be as she grows. We are all connected in this great web of life, and I would love to see each of you shining your unique light out into the beautiful world. It has been an honor and a privilege to connect with you today. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share my story with you. I am truly grateful. And if you really enjoyed this presentation, please share it with someone that you know, like, comment on this video. It's all about the ripple effect. So sharing this knowledge and wisdom with others will affect more people as it gets spread. If you have any questions or want to learn how to work with me more, you can follow me on Facebook or Instagram, and my website is healingplatform.com. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Much love to you all.